My heart shattered when my brother's pregnant wife spat venom at a family pool party, blaming my wife and me for our 4-year-old daughter's tragic death, saying, "Maybe this is why your daughter is dead," while our entire family stood frozen, their silence louder than her cruelty. And now I'm haunted by the smirk on her face as we walked away, our children's confused eyes burning into my soul. In the warmth of our home, filled with the laughter of our 4 children, my wife Sarah and I dared to dream of a big, joyful family. As Christians, we waited until our wedding vows were sealed before starting this journey. 3 months after our marriage, Sarah's pregnancy brought us our first son, a bright-eyed boy who filled our hearts with pride. A year later, our daughter Emma arrived, her tiny hands grasping at the world with wonder. Another year brought our second son, and 2 years after that, our second daughter completed our family of 6. Each child was a blessing, a piece of the sprawling family we'd always envisioned. But the birth of our youngest was different. Sarah's pregnancy was marked by relentless back pain and exhaustion, a shadow over her usual radiance. During delivery, the doctors found a tumor in her uterus. They acted swiftly, performing emergency surgery that saved her life. She emerged healthy, but the news that followed was a quiet devastation. We could no longer have children. Sarah's heart broke, not just for herself but for the dream she felt she'd failed to give me. I held her close, whispering that our family was perfect as it was, that she was enough. Yet postpartum depression wrapped her in a heavy fog. Her planned 3-month maternity leave stretched to 7 as she wrestled with grief over a future we'd lost. In those months, I turned to my older brother Derek, a man I'd always admired. He was my role model, the one who'd taught me how to navigate life's challenges. He stepped in, helping with chores and repairs, easing the weight on our shoulders. But his wife, Melissa, was a different story. Her sharp tongue found fault in everything. Our parenting, our children's choices, even our son's passion for chess. At just 4, he was a national chess master, a title he earned through love for the game, not pressure from us. Yet Melissa called it unhealthy, insisting he should be acting like a kid instead of chasing geeky pursuits. We brushed off her comments, chalking them up to her pregnancy hormones, as Derek often did. Sarah and I chose peace over confrontation, believing family harmony was worth the small stings. But then, tragedy reshaped our world. One ordinary day while I was at work, Sarah took the kids to the park. In a moment that haunts us still, a car struck our 4-year-old Emma. 6 hours of desperate surgery couldn't save her. The loss was a wound that bled into every corner of our lives. Sarah's memory of that day is fractured, and I couldn't bear to press her for details. We clung to each other, trying to be strong for our 3 surviving children, even as grief tore at us from within. 4 months later, Derek and Melissa invited the family to a pool party at their sprawling home. We thought it would be a chance for our kids to find joy with their cousins, to escape the shadow of loss for a day. The family gathered, offering condolences with gentle words and warm embraces. Everyone except Melissa. Her comments, veiled as concern, had always carried an edge, but that day, something darker emerged. The kids were splashing in the pool, their laughter a fragile echo of happier times. Then they started playing pranks, innocent at first, like pushing me into the water. I laughed it off, but the mood shifted when they turned to our new Tesla, scratching its doors in their mischief. Sarah and I calmly gathered all the children, including Derek's, to explain why such actions weren't okay. We weren't harsh, we wanted them to understand boundaries. That's when Melissa erupted. She stormed over, her voice sharp, accusing us of overstepping by addressing her children. Sarah, her patience worn thin, pointed out that the kids had caused real damage. The argument escalated, drawing the family's attention. And then, in a moment that stopped time, Melissa's words cut through the air. "Maybe this is why your daughter is dead." The world tilted. Sarah's face crumpled, tears spilling as she fled to the house. I stood frozen, demanding an explanation. But Melissa stood defiant, her arms crossed over her pregnant belly. Derek stepped between us, his hands on my shoulders, pleading that it was just her hormones, that she didn't mean it. But her eyes told a different story. Cold, unyielding, as if she'd meant every syllable. The family stood silent, their discomfort palpable, but no one spoke up. Not my mother, not my cousins, not my aunts or uncles. They avoided my gaze, studying the ground or the pool tiles, anything but the truth in front of them. I found Sarah in the bathroom, her sobs muffled against her hands. I knelt before her, promising that Melissa's words were lies, that Emma's death was a cruel accident, not our fault. My sister-in-law Kate slipped in, her voice trembling with anger. She revealed a history we hadn't known. Melissa's cruelty wasn't new. Years ago, at a Christmas party, she'd made a callous remark about our cousin Marie's stillborn child, driving Marie to cut contact with the family. No one had defended her either, choosing silence to preserve the illusion of unity. Sarah emerged, her grief transformed into resolve. She faced the family, now gathered in Derek's living room, and laid bare the pain no one else would name. She asked which of them had buried a child, chosen a tiny casket, explained to siblings why their sister was gone. Silence answered her. Melissa, nestled on the couch with Derek's arm around her, muttered that Sarah was being overdramatic. The family urged us to forgive, to move past it for the sake of family unity. But Sarah's voice cut through their pleas. Family doesn't weaponize a child's death. Family doesn't choose comfort over compassion. We gathered our children and left, their small faces confused but trusting. As we drove away, I saw Melissa's eyes. In the doorway, her hand on her belly, a faint smirk on her lips. The family we'd known was fracturing, and I knew we couldn't go back. The days that followed were a blur of pain and defiance. Texts flooded in, urging us to return, to apologize, to preserve the family. But Sarah and I were done swallowing our hurt. We turned off our phones, seeking refuge in the quiet of our home, where Emma's toys still sat untouched, a reminder of her light. That night, on our deck where she used to play, we grieved not just her loss, but the betrayal of those we'd called family. My mother's texts invoked Emma's name, pleading for us to think of what she'd want. Sarah's response was fierce. Emma would want her memory respected, her parents protected. We were done letting her death be used as a tool to guilt us into silence. One by one, I blocked family members' numbers. Derek, aunts, uncles, even my mother. Each block was a cut, severing ties that had once defined us, but it was also freedom, a refusal to let cruelty define our future. Our children sensed the shift. At breakfast, our oldest asked if we'd see Uncle Derek soon. We explained gently that sometimes adults need space when others hurt them deeply. Our daughter likened it to separating from a friend who wouldn't stop pushing her at recess. Their understanding, so pure and unclouded, strengthened our resolve. At work, whispers of the family drama followed me. Colleagues, fed a distorted version by Derek's network, saw us as the ones who'd stormed out over pregnancy hormones. I corrected them quietly. Someone used our daughter's death against us. Their faces shifted, the narrative cracking under the weight of truth. Then Melissa escalated. She showed up at our children's school, claiming a mix-up and trying to take them with her own. The school, following protocol, refused, but she made a scene, accusing us of keeping the coup. Sins apart out of spite. The principal's meeting was a formality, but it cemented our need to protect our children from her reach. We updated the pickup list, ensuring she'd never get close again. My mother appeared on our porch one night, a casserole in her hands, the South's universal peace offering. Her tears were real, but her words echoed the same excuses. Melissa was pregnant, emotional, misunderstood. I stopped her, my voice breaking as I named the truth. She'd chosen peace over justice, enabling cruelty by staying silent. She left the casserole behind, but we threw it away. Accepting it felt like accepting a bribe to ignore our pain. Kate, our fierce ally, called with news of her own rebellion. She'd confronted Derek and our mother, calling them cowards for enabling Melissa. The backlash was swift. Guilt trips, accusations of divisiveness, but Kate held firm. She proposed a new Thanksgiving, one free of Melissa's shadow, with others who'd been hurt by her cruelty. We agreed, envisioning a holiday built on love, not obligation. At our son's chess tournament, Derek and Melissa appeared, their presence a test. I turned my back, focusing on our son's brilliance as he moved pieces with precision. Melissa waved, as if her words hadn't shattered us. Our son won, his trophy a quiet triumph, but the absence of his cousin Tyler dimmed his smile. We reassured him. Love doesn't fade, even when distance is necessary. My father, long absent from family drama, called unexpectedly. He revealed the true reason for his divorce from my mother, her refusal to confront cruelty, her need to keep peace at any cost. He'd chosen distance to protect his integrity, a choice I now understood. His words were a mirror, reflecting the path we were forging. Thanksgiving approached, and Derek announced a gathering to keep traditions alive. It was a loyalty test, one we wouldn't take. Mom chose not to go, a small but significant shift. We invited her to our table, joined by Kate, Marie, and friends who'd become our chosen family. The day was warm, filled with laughter and stories of the tension that had marked past gatherings. Our children thrived, their joy unmarred by Melissa's criticism. Mom, watching them play, apologized again, tears in her eyes. She was trying, late but trying, to choose right over easy. The weekend after, Tyler appeared at our door, his bike propped against the porch. He'd snuck away, desperate to see his cousin. His voice cracked as he apologized for his mother's words, his loyalty torn between family and truth. We let him stay for 20 minutes, a brief reunion for two boys caught in adult conflicts. Derek's fury followed, his car screeching into our driveway. Melissa accused us of kidnapping, her words venomous as she blamed Sarah's negligence for Emma's death. Sarah recorded it all, her voice steady as she challenged Melissa to repeat her cruelty. Neighbors watched, their phones capturing the truth Melissa couldn't hide. The video spread, posted by our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. Melissa's victim narrative crumbled as people saw her for who she was. Mom called, ashamed she'd ever defended her. She was done enabling, done choosing peace over justice. Grief support group became our sanctuary, a place where Marie joined us, her own wounds reopened by our stand. We learned that family trauma could cut deeper than loss itself, betrayal a daily choice that silence enabled. When Derek and Melissa's daughter was born early, we sent a card wishing her health, a gesture for the innocent child, not her parents. Tyler's letter arrived through his school counselor, his words a heartbreaking plea to reconnect when he was older. We saved it, a promise for a future where he could choose his own path. Emma's birthday brought us to her grave, our children reading letters to their sister, placing flowers and a painted canvas to honor her light. We donated toys to the children's hospital, finding peace in giving joy where Emma's life had key. Ended. Then came the lawsuit. Derek and Melissa claimed defamation, emotional distress, alienation of family affection. Our lawyer, Catherine, was blunt. Their case was weak. Truth our defense. We signed a mutual no-contact agreement, a legal wall to protect our peace. It meant Tyler couldn't see his cousins. A loss that ached, but safety came first. Mom's courage grew. She posted online, admitting her silence had enabled cruelty, sparking a flood of stories from others Melissa had hurt. The family's facade shattered, revealing years of unchecked cruelty. Derek accused us of destroying his family, but we knew the truth. Melissa's words had done that long before. 6 months later, we learned Derek and Melissa had divorced, their marriage unraveling under the weight of her actions and his excuses. Tyler's message through his counselor promised future contact, a light in the darkness of their fractured family. Our children flourished, our oldest teaching chess, our middle child lost in books, our youngest painting vibrant worlds. They were free, no longer diminished by Melissa's barbs. We built a new family, not of blood, but of choice. Kate, Marie, the Pattersons, friends from Grief Group, they showed up, not out of duty, but love. Emma's memory became a beacon, guiding us to those who valued kindness over comfort, respect over obligation. We grieved her every day, but we also honored her by refusing to let her death be a weapon. Our love for her taught us that family isn't about who you're born to, but who stands by you when the world feels broken. As we sat at dinner, laughter filling our home, Sarah took my hand. We were okay. Not whole, never whole without Emma, but strong. We'd chosen protection over politeness, boundaries over betrayal. And in that choice, we found a peace that no casserole, no family dinner, no forced unity could ever offer. Emma's light lived on, not as a wound, but as a guide, showing us the way to a family worth keeping.